All right, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Another Real Modern Agent show. I got Andres with me here from South Florida too. We're here coming live in the studio. We are streaming this to Facebook and YouTube. Welcome, guys. I left it pretty open today, but I kind of wanted to talk about really some of the changes that people are going to have to make in 2026 to really start seeing, success, growth, and kind of momentum in their lives and in their business, man. So, Andres, welcome to the show. Welcome back. I hope you're ready for another one.
Definitely, Brian. So next year, 2026, which is literally around the corner, it's going to be a challenge, especially, I think, for all of us that our business is basically fed through cold calling. Cold calling has been a challenge, especially because all of the updates on our phones, either Android or Apple devices, there's a lot of filters. The pickup rate is very sad. Unfortunately, we have to call and call and call and call nonstop in order to see something happen. So something needs to change for 2026 in order for us to continue doing what we do, what we love, which is calling and connecting with people.
Yeah, and it's interesting over the years, too, how technology has evolved. I remember when I started cold calling, a single or a triple line dialer was like, wow, like, oh, my God, this is incredible. And now you have stuff like call tools that can call 10, 15, 20, 25 lines at the same time. So a lot of the people that are in my team or in my program, they tell me in like 2 hours they can talk to 40 or 50 people because of these dialing softwares, So it's been interesting to see that shift where the answer rates, and I'll say this, even when I was in my prime calling, I don't think my answer rate was ever higher than 3% or 4% ever, personally. Right. So when I looked at, like, if I called 100 numbers, I maybe talked to 3 or 4 people. That was the average. Yep. So a lot of times people say, oh, I called 100 people and talked to 5. I'm like, well, that was better than me, 10 years ago. Right. So you're right. It is down. I think it's still, people need to leverage technology. And also, I think people have maybe gotten used to only maybe contacting 1 or 2 types of lead sources. And I think they really need to start diversifying the types of lead sources that they're calling to, because I find that people get comfortable only calling one. Oh, I only want to call expireds. Oh, I only want to do circle dialing. Oh, I only want to do this. And we get stuck in our ways, right? We're creatures of habit, and it becomes very easy to fall into that rut of just doing the same thing. So for you, right, what are some things that maybe you're thinking of changing moving forward, like especially in that category?
That's a really good question, Brian. One of the things that I don't understand is that we have way too many realtors who are, let's say, successful on what they do. They start teaching other realtors the right things to do. One thing that I don't approve is that they say you can call everybody that is registered on the do not call registry. To me, that's reckless. It's like driving drunk. You can definitely do it, but when you get caught, you get caught. And it's going to cost you a lot of money. And I see online, now, you can just call and call, no problem. And these great softwares, like the one that you said, that you can definitely contact 20, 30, 40 people per hour. If you take a look at those companies, they don't filter data. They don't scrub the data against the do not call registry. To me, that's a red flag. Yes, it's efficient. Yes, it's a risk. If you are the type of agent that perhaps are making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, and you can afford to have an attorney on your team and be comfortable dealing with subpoenas or anything like that, go ahead. That's your business model. I don't deal with that. I've been part of that. Never again. I'll learn my lesson. So every single realtor that is hopefully taking a look at this video and is cold calling, analyze your data, and I highly recommend that you scrub your data against the do not call registry.
Have you ever gotten in trouble?
Recommendation.
Have you ever gotten in trouble?
I did, and this is, not too long ago. And one of the most incredible things is that when I got in trouble, because I left a voice message, and it was like not even like a 20-second voice message.
Mm-hmm.
I got involved into a class action lawsuit. Now that everything with Zillow is coming out, I realized that I'm so glad that I'm no longer part of this, because instead of Zillow, I was part of Realtor.com. So it was an incredible learning lesson. Unfortunately, I had to stop my business for an entire year. I couldn't make a single phone call. I was literally under the microscope. I had the unfortunate situation that the type of business that we are in, not every single attorney in the country can deal with a TCPA violation. So you're from California, Brian. I live here in Florida, and I had to contact and work with a California attorney that is, until today, one of the experts in TCPA. So I don't recommend you going reckless. I recommend that you have your database, clean it. If you have the possibility to clean it against the Do Not Call registry, do it. If you listen to everything that you see online, you are basically about to fall on a cliff.
So aside from cold calling, have you ever done any other traditional lead generation activities, open houses, events, door knocking, or anything like that? Or have you always just kind of done cold calling?
No, cold calling, events. When you're talking about events, I traveled to probably 5 countries, presenting pre-construction.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I've done a lot of, because most of what I did coming up was phones and doors. I did a lot of door knocking, and I can tell you the door knocking is incredible. I've had some of the best experiences door knocking. I know so many people are afraid to do it. And to me, it was my favorite. You know, I love cold calling, but I love getting out there, walking, being outside, talking to people. And it was, for me, one of the best ways to also develop my skills, because on the phone, yeah, you need the skill set, but in person, you can't hide anything. If you're nervous, they're going to see it, right? And
yeah, 100%. The only challenge, because I've tried it, is the weather. If you're coming from California and try to call, door knock here in Florida, you're going to be sweating. I mean, in California, you could sweat, of course. Walking after an hour, you'll be sweating. But here, you just step out of your car, and you're drenched. Like, it's not pretty at all.
Yeah, I've done some door knocking out here with my team, and it definitely gets hot for sure. But it's one of those things that I think that in-person connection, right? Like it's special.
It makes a difference.
I've met so many good people, added great people to my database, and came across so many opportunities door knocking that's why I always bring my agents and say, hey, we're going to teach you the phone and we're going to teach you the door. Because to this day, I'm still friends and connected with a lot of people that I've met throughout my career door knocking, and it was awesome. And it changes things up. I think people can get a little depressed sitting in a room and calling. So to have that mix of doing doors and phones, I think will help people a lot. But I think if people are really afraid of the rejection, you know, so like when you were cold calling, did you ever have any issues with the rejection, or did you just call and it was not a problem?
Every day I face rejection every single time that I call. Every single day that I'm about to press the start button, I know that I'm going to be rejected. And you never know who's going to be. You never know why they're going to cuss at you or yell at you or tell you random things. Is human nature. We are calling strangers. We are interrupting their day-to-day, even though I don't think that I'm going to be wasting their time on their mind. Who are you? Why are you calling me? Oh, like, how do you get my number? So it's there's a like a wall right there that you need to break through.
Yeah. Can you tell us a story about maybe the coolest or the biggest deal that you put together from a cold call?
From not from a cold call, but from a text message, which to me has been the most, let's say, incredible stories. And this is a couple of years ago, doing online advertisement, nothing extraordinary before COVID. And I started getting these text messages. Oh, I know you're a realtor in this area. I'm looking for properties, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath in this price range. And I will call that person 2, 3, 4 times a day. Never answer. Never answer. And I did that for many weeks. I was finally lucky enough to schedule a showing without talking to the person. I showed the property to that person for the first time without talking to him. We ended up going under contract. And until today, every time that I call to see how he's doing, no answer. Just text message.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's all about being persistent. It's all about the follow-up, which is hard, which you can definitely things fall apart, things fall through because you don't follow up at the right time. But if you're persistent, if you're organized, if you have a system that you can, okay, I call you last week, I'm going to send you a text this week, I'm going to send you an email the following week. And if you're trying to engage with that person in a different way, hopefully that person is going to react at some point, if that person, of course, is interested, and if you are on his good side.
Did you ever run a business before you got into real estate, or was real estate your first kind of entrepreneurship endeavor?
Funny story, the fashion industry.
Really?
Yep.
Very cool.
I was in the fashion industry for over, I'll say 20 years.
Wow.
And I was lucky enough to have a store right in front of Wynwood Walls. If you are familiar with Wynwood.
Yep.
So Wynwood Walls was nothing, absolutely nothing a couple of years ago. I had a store with a friend of mine. His name is Emilio. And we had our clothing line for probably 2 years. And then Wynwood Walls was, let's say, launched. And that was an amazing story. Mm-hmm. Right now, Wynwood Walls is just not the way it should have been. It's just ruined. But yeah, so before real estate, fashion.
So was that transition easy for you when you got into real estate, or was it pretty challenging?
No, on the contrary. After being so many years in the fashion industry, I knew that had an end. And my exit has always been real estate. So even if I was working in the fashion industry, I knew that what I was supposed to be doing is real estate. So as soon as I had the opportunity, as soon as Wynwood change, as soon as Lincoln Road change, I had the opportunity to say, this is it. Let's go full on real estate.
Mm. Wow. So it was an easy decision for you?
No. Even though it looks like a yes, no, it was not, because I love fashion and I'm extremely creative. And to me, creating garments out of nothing, putting it on a store and selling it was an awesome experience. Especially having my clothing line on Lincoln Road, on Alton Road, on Wynwood. also in Las Vegas, and some stores in California. That to me was priceless. But at the same time, I was always thinking about real estate. So I had real estate in my mind forever, yes, but easy decision, yes, but no. It's just a trick question.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you have stories for days, man. And I can't even imagine. So you had your own clothing line.
Yeah.
How do you even start that idea? Like, how does that even begin for you? Somebody to come up with the idea, start it, and then actually launch it. I'm assuming that's a super long process, right?
Super long process. Well, yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I discovered throughout the years is that I was never good at drawing or sketching. I was a horrible, let's say, a student, because my worst subject was fashion styling. That was, I will fail, like no questions asked. But after many years, what I learned is that I love painting textiles. And I discovered and I created my own technique. My clothing line was literally wearable art. I would hand paint every single textile. I will cut the fabric. I will sew it, make it into jeans, a skirts, a t-shirt, a jacket, and sell it. And that's what I did for many years. At that time, which is this is a funny story, Brian. Project Runway, if I'm not mistaken, that was the name of the show.
Yeah.
Project Runway. I was one of the first contestants of that show. I was never on TV.
Wow.
But my clothing line was evaluated by them on the first, second, and third season. And yeah, it's just a funny story, as you can imagine.
Project Runway. All right. I'm going to have to look that up. That's cool. So you're one of the first ones. That's awesome, man. That's super cool. That's funny, man.
So the creative part to me has always been easy. It's always in my head.
So for you, is that something like kind of that creativity or what you brought from that? How have you kind of used that to help you in real estate, or how have you applied that experience into real estate to kind of help you, if you have?
Marketing. All we do in real estate is marketing. Even if we sell a condo, a townhouse, a single family home, a lot, if your marketing is not right, it won't sell. It's how you communicate, how you present an idea, the copy, the graphics, your colors. It all connects.
So would you say the average agent is not taking that serious and they don't know what they're doing?
Here's the problem with the everyday agent, or with, I'll say 99% of the agents. All they do is just list it, just sold, and that's their marketing. As a consumer, if I'm a consumer, I don't care what you have sold. I don't know what you have listed. I want to see what's in your head. I want to see your expertise. And just listed, just sold, to me is just, to me, that's vanity. That's your ego trying to show the world, I just did this.
Yeah.
That to me doesn't have any value. So to me, that's the problem with most real estate agents. Just listed, just sold, social media post.
So if I was like a newer agent and I went to you and said, "Hey, Andreas, help me with the marketing. I just got this nice listing. It's a, $600,000 home here in a normal neighborhood. What would you recommend for me to kind of be different and stand out and actually market it properly?"
Step outside from the property. Show what's around. Show the best restaurants. What's cool. If it's in a community where most of the people living there are family oriented, show the best schools, show the best restaurant, the best coffee shop, the best library, the best park to take your kids. How far are you from art gallery in Wynwood, How far are you from X location? So go outside just a particular property, because that's what makes it enticing living there. How far am I from Miami International Airport, or from Fort Lauderdale Airport? Create an awesome video. Don't just focus on 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. Those are just numbers.
Right.
Show the lifestyle.
So going beyond the house.
Go beyond the house. That's correct.
Okay. So, and like, you're right, it's vanity, right? Just as it just sold. I remember I would always joke and tell people, if you post that your very first time, people are like, oh yeah, congratulations. But by the time you post 3 or 4, they're like, boo, shut up. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Oh man. And that's something that, I kind of took into mind, even like when I sold a property. I never did a just sold post. I would either post a picture with the homeowner, or I would do a video with them and have them discuss what it was like living there, what they're doing next. And I made it about them and not about me. Right. And I noticed that people really love that. And so did the homeowners, because they didn't expect it,
And that's not your perspective, Brian, is the people that bought over there, what they feel, what they think, what they see about just like having that roof over the heads. So sharing that, let's say, testimonials, those are awesome. They're sharing what they see every day, what they feel every day. But you as a realtor, just listed, just sold.
Yeah.
Not appropriate.
Well, what are some other things you think that could be clever that they could post or talk about in regards to marketing, right? Because I think that'll be the question. They're like, okay, that's a good idea, but what else? Because a lot of them have zero clue on marketing. They have no idea.
Brian, and if we are going to be very specific in the Southeast Florida market, lifestyle. Focus on how many events we have throughout the year. When do we have our Basel? When do we have Food and Wine Festival? Where is Food and Wine Festival? What type of people go there? Do we have, not too recent ago, we had a Japanese festival, and it was unbelievable, where you can definitely go and taste all the dishes that you could ever imagine from Japan. And if you are in that particular city, let's say Pompano Beach, show that to the people living there. If we have, which is going to be 2026, the tennis tournaments, show what's happening in Miami during those days where we have a tennis tournaments. Do occupancy rates go up? Do rental companies do incredible? Do restaurants do incredible? Which are the best restaurants to go? Which are the best boutiques to go and shop before going to the tournament? There's too many things here that you can definitely take advantage of.
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
Yeah. And I think where a lot of people fall short there is that actually requires them to pay attention. And a lot of them don't do that, right? They just think the house and real estate versus you're looking a lot bigger and grander than just the home and the process, right?
Yep. What would you do?
Well, right. The thing is like what you're describing is people actually taking genuine interest in this, right? Like, hey, if I was going to be the customer and I'm going to live here, right? Like those are things that they would want to know, or at least if you gave them that information, it'd be like, oh, that's good to know, even if they weren't thinking about it, right? But for me, I mean, the lifestyle aspect of it is great. I just think I always looked at marketing as storytelling. That's the way that I looked at it personally, right? So I said, hey, if you move here, I'm going to incorporate a lot of the things that you said, but I'm going to do it in a storytelling format, right? Because I remember a while back, and this video kind of went viral, we listed a home back in California in Newport Beach, like right by the water, right? It was, you could open the doors and the ocean was right there. And I had my video guy come in, and we did a whole story around it where it showed a young man like waking up, going surfing in the morning, right? Then he came back, went to work, then came home, and him and his girlfriend were having wine on the roof, overlooking the ocean, right? Like basically showing the lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And I remember I did that as pre-marketing for the property. We put it out on Facebook. We put it out on social media and YouTube, and I booked showings and sold the property before we even went on the market, just from that marketing, right? And that's kind of how I've always done it, right? And I had them come in and kind of tell the story of what it would be like to live there.
Another thing that you have to think about is that not every city has the same lifestyle. It's not the same as you coming from New York, moving to, let's say, El Doral or Weston. You're not going to have the same experience that you were living in, let's say, Manhattan. It would be closer, even though it's not going to be the same as if you're coming straight from Manhattan to Brickell, not to Weston, not to El Doral, not to Cooper City or Southwest Ranches. The lifestyle is completely different.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that Miami is very flashy, very plastic. It really depends who you hang out with, and it really depends on literally who's around you.
Yeah.
Miami is full of people from all over the world. We have beautiful people here. Beautiful.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. So we talked a little bit about marketing. We've talked a little bit about your history, which is cool to learn because I didn't know that stuff, right? For you, like moving forward, like 2026, are you planning on, growing a team or operationally in real estate? Are you really pushing for any big changes, or is it going to be pretty much the same for you?
Growing the biggest team on earth. That's one of our goals. It's definitely a challenge, but we really need to, hey, Curtis, we really need to put our foot on the pedal to make it happen.
Yeah. I love it.
Yep.
What's up, Curtis?
Hey, how's it going? What are we talking about?
Good, man.
Growing the biggest team on earth.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, we just kind of, we were having a discussion. I learned a little bit more about Andreas and his past, which is cool. 20 years in the fashion industry, which I would have never guessed, but that's awesome.
I can get some tips. I can get some tips from him.
There we go. The theme today is things that people you believe are going to have to adapt to or change really in 2026 to really start seeing some more success. So I don't know if you had any thoughts or opinions on that subject.
I mean, most people don't even do the basics well enough, right? So I think if they did that, they'd already be ahead of the game, and then just kind of staying on top of trends and things. New laws, lots of changes with how we have to kind of do stuff out here in Arizona, at least. And I know there's some big stuff with like sharing other people's listings and stuff coming up. So that's going to affect a lot of like ads and just like posts and stuff on social media in general. So, just making sure everybody does everything to the T and like follow the laws. Just kind of, I think going back to the old school stuff like cold calling and door knocking is just going to be big for people that are willing to do it.
Something that we've been discussing like in our team private chats that I think is a great topic is like we've been discussing a lot of stuff that's like a personal touch, like a little handwritten note card or stuff like that. Now, I've had tremendous amount of success with stuff like that, and I know you have too, and we've been discussing it a lot. Can you give people some ideas on some of the stuff that they could do in regards to like quick little personal touches for like database or people and how effective they are?
Yeah, I mean, like just instead of asking for something only, right? Give them something in addition. So we were talking in the group about maybe sending like a little scratch off or like, just to the database doing like local coupons and things that are branded to you, right? So now they have your face, you gave them, some kind of savings, right? Like you're basically giving them money, but it's something of value instead of just saying, hey, I know you've never heard from me before, but let's work together, right? So you give them something in addition to just the basic.
Yeah, like I remember when I was really, and I did this very early on in my career, I was interviewing and featuring a lot of local, like small and medium-sized businesses, like to my database and to my social media. And this was really popular. I had my team doing it a lot, especially during the COVID era because they needed it. But even before that, when I was starting, I built a good relationship with a lot of local businesses. And what I started doing was I would go to them and say, hey, this is a great idea. I'd recommend everybody use. I would align with a lot of them and say, hey, I'm going to be door knocking, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 doors in these neighborhoods. I'm going to have a flyer. Do you guys want to team up with me and maybe put an advertisement or something on the back, like a code, a coupon or something, right? So what I ended up doing was I ended up partnering with like 4 or 5 businesses. I created a 2-sided flyer, one that would have the listing or whatever I wanted on the front, and on the back, a lot of these companies and stores and restaurants that I work with, they had an advertisement on the back, and they created a special code like Team BC or whatever it was. And the funny thing was when I would do it, they actually split the cost of the magazines with me, or the flyers, and they got promotion from it, right? And that was great, right? Like to this day, I'm still friends, and I've done business with a lot of people who own those businesses. I was out there hustling anyway, but I got to double up and build that relationship, but also, feature and give some value to people and say, hey, I know these restaurants, I work with them, these stores, I work with all of them personally. Keep this flyer, right? Because you have like a special, code there. And I always did stuff like that throughout my career. And I genuinely wanted to support the businesses, but it also helped me on my business, and to this day, I've lost count of how many people that I've met through that I've done business with or gotten referrals from. Right. And a lot of them ended up becoming really good friends. I've even had some of those business owners come to speak at my coaching events, and they tell the stories about how they met me going into the store and interviewing them and all that, which is cool. But I really think the main point here, whether it's the personal touch or that, you got to get out there and make that contact, right? You got to make those connections. And I think our era now has become so digitized for a lot of people, especially the younger generation. They've lost sight of that. And they're struggling, or they're just refusing to go out there and shake people's hands and really meet people face to face, unfortunately.
Yeah, and if you're helping them with their business, they're going to help you with yours, right? So they hear somebody that's talking about real estate at their coffee shop or whatever they own, right, locally. Hey, I know a guy, right? It's Brian, or it's Curtis, it's Andreas, right? So that's perfect.
I know that being behind the camera could be a challenge for, let's say, a lot of people. And I know that being in front of other people, it's vital, it's human nature. But on the other hand, we have to keep in mind that if it was not because of this technology, if it was not because of that camera and this microphone and the technology, let's say StreamYard, we wouldn't be able to connect from multiple places at the same time. So one of the things that I really liked, even though I hated COVID, to me that was a nightmare. It gave me the vision that I can literally connect with anybody. It didn't matter where they were. So I started talking to people in different countries that were interested in buying here. And if it was not because of that, it would have taken me probably a long time to figure it out, that we have the technology and we have to use it to our advantage. We shouldn't allow technology to use us, which is what happens to most of everybody. Technology is using you. But we have to be on top and see what we can do with it and how we can take it, use it to make what we want to do. We want to connect with people. This is a way to connect with people. Even though I'm not right next to you, Brian or Curtis, we're talking at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely great. Absolutely.
Have you guys ever done that with like initial calls to leads? Like you talk to them on the phone or whatever, and then get them on a Zoom call or something like this, just because it's, it's more personal, right? You're not just a voice on the phone. They can see your face and your mannerisms and things. I think it builds a little more trust, before even getting to their house and talking to them. So I don't know if you had a strategy for that, or just how many people, or what's like the age cutoff.
I mean, I've always incorporated that, man. And that's a good point. Like I've always connected with people on the phone, and then immediately I'll send them a video, an introduction video. Hey, just wanted to put a face to the name. Right. And then pretty much aside from me doing outbound prospecting, anything else, I have people jump on a Zoom with me and chat, right? I've sold houses to people through FaceTime as well. You know, I'm always looking to connect with people like this. And the cool part is, if you guys initially meet somebody on social media or not in person, and you're willing to jump on video and you're comfortable, that elevates it so much more. Because I think that's where the hesitancy is. Like, people are afraid to get behind the camera, but if you do it calmly, it builds trust. Like Tyler, right? He was in the comment section. I don't know if he's still watching. He just, called an expired, set the appointment, and hopped on a Zoom call with the lady, went to the house because she's out of the area, and he got the listing. You know, she felt comfortable enough, and he did it. And I think that's awesome. I've done that a million times.
Even if I think you're gone, Curtis, but even if you don't have the opportunity to talk to schedule a meeting, just like we are talking through StreamYard or Zoom, whatever platform you use, after your call ends, just send them a video. Hey, pleasure talking to you. I've been looking forward to meeting you today, tomorrow, to talk about your next move, anything like that. Just put your face in front of them, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. Well, I think this is a good spot to kind of wrap it up. Do you have any final thoughts for all the realtors out there and people watching this, Andres, or are we just going to send them off and let them get back to work?
Get them back to work. Just be careful who you listen to. That's about it.
Yep, I agree. All right. Appreciate you coming on, my friend. Curtis, I don't know. I guess we lost you. Maybe he got a call. All right. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you next week.